It's just after 10 o'clock on Saturday morning and we are still in Didim at the D-Marin Marina in Turkey. We've just had the electronics guy around. So what he's determined is there's a fault in it's a kind of distribution box. He's gone off to see if he can get a replacement one. Time is ticking and we have to leave tomorrow. Batteries checked and getting a charge. Starter battery checked and not getting a charge. Alternator belt tightened up, didn't rectify the problem. But it is this box down here where the main power comes in and then gets distributed to the 3 different sets of batteries. And that is the thing that needs replacing. After departing Greece, our decision to check into Turkey at D-Marin Marina was because it's simple and quick. D-Marin at Didim is one of the largest luxury marinas in the Eastern Mediterranean for yachts and super yachts. From 8 meters to 70 meters, there are 576 berths, with 90 berths dedicated to super yachts. Immigration, customs and port police buildings are all on site, and by using the super efficient services of Attila the Agent, the whole process is seamless. The D-Marin Yacht Club is very special, with a wonderful pool area, superb menu for dining at any time of the day, and very attentive staff. The views are both breathtaking and relaxing. Just an update on this Saturday's events regarding the various mechanics that have been to visit the boat. The electronic guy couldn't find a replacement, the box that distributes the power to the various battery banks. So what he said is, if we're heading south down to Marmaris area, we can definitely, more than likely, 100% get one in Marmaris, because that is the capital of boat maintenance in this coast of Turkey. And it's very simple. All I've got to do is disconnect the 4 cables, dismount the unit, put the new unit in its place and reconnect the 4 cables, and that should fix that problem. So at least we've taken another bite out of that little issue, and we know that a fix is just a few days down south. And the other thing is that the guy who took away the outboard, when his technician opened it up and looked inside the carburetor, it was just full of gunk, and that came from bad fuel. The main fuel tank that lives in the dinghy was half full of fuel when we went onto the hard, and I didn't know that modern fuel goes all gunky and gluey. After a few months it just goes off. So I just topped that tank off with fresh fuel before we left, and of course it still has the fresh fuel, and the old fuel have still not fixed any problem. They've just gone more gunky. So the outboard now works. That's great. He also got rid of the old fuel and bought us some new fuel, but it does of course mean I still have 10 litres of fuel that is in one of our extra spare canisters that is definitely 8-9 months old now. So I've got to find somewhere to dispose of that. I'm going to take the dinghy over to the petrol station over here and see if I can dispose of it there and refill the tank with fresh fuel. So that's the situation with that at the moment. As we always say, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. The dry dock is huge, with space for 600 vessels, and they have huge lifting capacity. They also have a specialist catamaran centre. The bathroom facilities are large, airy and spotless, and there's plenty of hot water for long Hollywood showers, which we certainly made the most of. Recycling on site is also a big thing too, which is good to see. Within the marina complex there are opportunities for sports, wellness, dining out, shopping, provisioning, technical services, chandlers and transportation to Didim and the surrounding areas.
Look, Baz, just what you need.
Yeah, I can sit here for hours and practice. This is an interesting little anchorage in Turkey, and the name of it is on the screen right now. We came in here yesterday afternoon quite late, and we were having a steady 25 knots of wind from the northwest, and it blew like Billy-O all night with gusts up to 35. Over here there is a little creek that runs out, so this area, if you're anchoring, consists of quite a lot of mud. And if we look over here, this area is mostly sand, but mixed into the whole mud and sand is a lot of weed. So you have to be sure that your anchor's gone in to a sandy patch or a muddy patch. So I would certainly suggest diving your anchor once you've got it down. The white swimming area delineation markers actually light up at night. So even if you came in here after dark, you would certainly see where you could, how far you could go. There's nothing much to speak of on the shore here. There's a lot of construction going on, but certainly very few lights last night, and certainly no noise or people. This anchorage area consists of two parts. There is the north part and there is the south part. Just behind that rock there are several yachts at anchor. It's certainly a lot more lively over there. There are many bars and restaurants on the beach, and of course if you need food, shopping, provisions, then there are shops in town there as well. We're currently anchored in 6 meters of water with 40 meters of chain out, and even in the gusts overnight of at least 35 knots we held quite nicely. If the wind is not holding you in the right position, then this huge expanse of exposure can bring in some swells and you will get a little bit rolly. And there's quite a lot of traffic here and few ferries and large ships that go past throughout the day and night. This morning we leave this little bay. The name of the place is on the bottom of the screen right now, and we head a little bit further east into the bay, the huge bay that Bodrum resides in. And at Bodrum got a bit of a plan, and she's going to stay on board.
Yeah, I've got editing to do.
Yeah.
I'm behind. I've usually already done it by now. So.
But that's sailing for you. While I go ashore and grab a taxi and head to the big Bodrum boat pawn shop.
Which I want to go to, but I can't.
Captain's privilege. So we've got a list as long as my arm of things that I want to try and pick up. Hopefully they should have a lot of it, because people have said they've got tons of stuff there. So it's just a few hours to Bodrum. We are not going to stay there because there's a big blow coming in from the north with predicted gusts up to 37 knots, and we're going to try and get a bit further east where it's not so bad. So that's the plan for today.
Yeah.
Better get that engine fired up, eh?
Okay. I'll put my PC away now.
Yeah. When we're sharing the story of ABC and Ansha and I's journey, we generally keep it linear in fashion and don't jump forward in time. But we've had a couple of comments, not too many, but just a couple, enough that I think I need to just say that we're not trying to drag this anode situation out for, you know, shits and giggles, or what's it called when you leave a cliffhanger or anything like that. What we're actually doing, we're portraying this whole anode situation in a real linear timeline, and this is how we went through it. These are, you know, this is the timeline that we went through it, and you know, that's the frustration that we had to go through as we were trying to figure out what was going on, what was causing the situation, what potential fixes we could make happen. What I can say, today is Tuesday the 25th of August, so we're going to break the rule here. We've jumped forward in time. This is a real-time thing in an older time video. I have just dived the underneath of ABC in the marina here at Cache, and I can tell you that the third anode that we put on and didn't fizz is still very much attached to the prop shaft. It is not fizzing, and it hasn't deteriorated in any way more than would be expected for the time frame that the anode has been attached to the prop shaft. Now, as to what the problem actually was and any fix that might have happened, I'm going to leave that for the real-time journey. But for those of you who are getting, I don't know, frustrated by the lack of an answer, if you like, that's just this bit's for you guys. Okay, so I'll just leave this in here. Anyway, talk to you later.
We'd just like to say how much we really appreciate our patrons, because you help us to keep producing these videos. We'd like to introduce 2 new patrons this week, Henrik and also glenovation.com. Hi guys, and welcome to our Sailing ABC patron family. We also really appreciate you, our subscribers, and if you'd like to know what Barry bought at the Bodrum boat pawn shop, then check out next week's video. If you haven't subscribed already, press the subscribe button and ding the bell icon next to it so that you get notified of all future video releases from Sailing ABC. Until next week, we hope you have a great week, stay safe and healthy.